Okay, this video is going to be about the 5 modes of narration, which is a useful way for thinking about your fiction storytelling or your nonfiction storytelling. Mode 1 is action. That is when you are describing things that are happening actually in the present scene. It has to involve movement. You know something's action if it's going moment by moment and if it's moving slowly, but time is moving during action in the present scene. Number 2 is dialogue. This mode is just when any character is speaking out loud to another character. These are direct quotes of what the character is saying. 3. 3 is description, and during the description mode, action is paused. And instead you are providing descriptive details either about characters or surroundings who are in your story. 4, we have state of mind. State of mind is whatever is going on inside the head of whoever your narrator is in the story, be it a first-person narrator, a third-person narrator, whatever. And then lastly is exposition. Exposition is background information. It might be a summary of something that happened, but it's not happening within the current scene. It's something that happened in the past or maybe in the future, but it's not in the current scene. During exposition, you can tell the difference between exposition and action because in exposition, time moves very quickly. It's not that moment-by-moment slow motion. So why do we learn about the 5 modes? Well, the goals I like to think about are these two. First of all, you develop an awareness for how you tend to use these modes. So you might notice, for example, that you have a lot of exposition and hardly any dialogue, or you might notice that you have a lot of action and very little description. And that's just useful to think about. There are no strict rules about how much to have, but you can think about how you might want to add more of one mode to enhance your story, or if you seem to be over-relying on one of these modes, it might help you improve your story by subtracting something that's unnecessary. I think it's a good framework for beginning writers especially to develop this awareness. But again, you can tell a great story if you're a very skilled storyteller with all dialogue, or you can tell a great story with no dialogue. There is really no hard and fast rule for that all stories have to follow. You just want to aim for a balance that helps you achieve your artistic goals. And again, having that awareness helps you be more strategic in how you choose to balance these modes to tell your story. All right, I'm going to go over an example. This comes from a very popular old short story by John Updike called A&P. It's in a lot of anthologies. You may have read it before. But just take a moment to read through this paragraph that occurs in that story. And go ahead and pause your video so you have enough time to read this. Okay, the activity that I'm going to do involves some highlighting. What I've done here is I've put the 5 modes across the top there. You can see action, dialogue, description, state of mind, and exposition. And I've color-coded them. Okay, just randomly pick some colors there. And I suggest in your own writing, to develop your awareness, you go through and use a highlighter. Take something that you've already written and see how much action you're using, how much dialogue, description, state of mind, exposition, just to get a picture of what your balance is. All right. Let's go through this sentence by sentence. That first sentence, see if you can see what it is. Lengel sighs and begins to look very patient and old and gray. I've got that as a sentence that starts with action. Lengel is sighing and beginning to look, so that is things are happening, movement is occurring, time is moving forward in the moment. But then halfway through that sentence, we switch to a description. We're just describing what he looks like, patient and old and gray. He's not doing anything, it's just this description of how he's existing. All right, let's look at that next sentence. He's been a friend of my parents for years. That's exposition. It's giving background information. It's not something that's occurring in the present scene. All right, that next sentence. Sammy, you don't want to do this to your mom and dad, he tells me. That one's kind of easy. That's dialogue in the quotes. But at the end there, the tag, he tells me, is action. He's speaking. It's true. I don't. That is state of mind. and I jumped forward there too, but it seems to me that once you begin a gesture, it's fatal not to go through with that. All of that is in the narrator's mind. It's thoughts that he's having. I fold the apron, Sammy stitched in red on the pocket and put it on the counter and drop the bow tie on top of it. This sentence is mostly action. He folds the apron, but you'll notice what happens in the middle of the sentence is we sort of press a pause button and switch to description, that Sammy is stitched in red on the pocket. So he folds the apron, pause, Sammy stitched in red on the pocket, pause or unpause, and then we get into the action of putting it on the counter and dropping the bow tie on top of it. So notice how that starts with things happening, time moving forward, it pauses, and then it presses play again, is the way I like to think of it. All right, the bow tie is theirs, if you've ever wondered. That's exposition. Again, giving background, something in your mind. You'll feel this for the rest of your life, L'Engle says, and I know that's true too, but remembering how he made that pretty girl blush makes me so scrunchy inside, I punch the no sale tab, and the machine whirls people, and the drawer splats out. That's a big sentence. You'll feel this for the rest of your life is dialogue. L'Engle speaking is action. Then we switch to state of mind, where the narrator here says, and I know that's true too, but remembering how he made that pretty girl blush. That second one, I'm switching it to description, although I think you could make an argument it's still kind of state of mind, so I would say you could go either way on that. But then for the final part of that last sentence, we switch to action. He punches the no sale tab, the machine whirls, and the drawer splats out. So we've unpaused from the thoughts and we've moved into the action there at the end. Again, what you'll notice too is that sometimes you might be able to make an argument that something may fall under two of these, but for the most part it's pretty straightforward which mode of narration each piece of the narrative falls under. Just one more thought I want to leave with you too is that there are some writers who've written that there are more than 5 modes of narration. So for example, some people have a separate mode that's transitions, or some people divide state of mind into lots of different types of thoughts. So if you Google it, you'll find that some people say there's 8 modes, some people say there's 11 modes. So 5 is just one useful way to look at it.